The Old Testament mentions gratitude 157 times. The New Testament says, give thanks in all circumstances. In modern times, Oprah Winfrey says, the gratitude journal is life-changing. You heard it tonight, gratitude is good. In the beginning, I was a believer. Every day I wrote down 3 things I was grateful for. 1, I live in New York City. 2, I have 24-hour access to pizza. 3, I'm in love. Then my girlfriend slept with another woman. She's all, I don't know what this means about us. I knew what it meant. I was crushed. A few nights later, I was having pizza with a friend. He said, how are you? And instead of giving him a platitude, I said, I'm sad. He said, study yourself. Become an expert in heartbreak. And I was like, what? Okay. First thing I noticed, I couldn't even eat pizza. As I walked home, the East Village was all gray. I was so tired. I couldn't sleep. When I did sleep, I couldn't wake up. I couldn't read an article in the newspaper. I couldn't even watch TV. I didn't want to shower. This is what heartbreak looked like. As I studied heartbreak, in about a week, a shift happened. So it was like a distance crept in between me and what I was going through. And it was like I was watching myself kind of from the side. So now, when I was crying alone on a crowded subway, I was also like, oh, that's interesting. It's possible to be so lonely among so many people. It was a sad observation, but it was an interesting observation too. And I kept having these observations. And soon, at 24, I became an expert in heartbreak. That's my diploma. 10 years later, I was a single lesbian, and I got pregnant on my own using sperm from a sperm bank. The minute sperm hit egg, and there it is, that's the minute. I know I'm lucky, most people don't get good shots of conception. The minute that happened, I hated everyone, especially myself, and I was diagnosed with hormone-induced depression. I was talking to my neighbor. I told her I was growing out of my underwear, and she offered to buy me new underwear, which I thought was a really nice gesture, and I hated her for it. I was like, no, I don't want you buying me new underwear. And she's like, what is your problem? Isn't this what you wanted? And I was like, you have no idea what I went through to get here. And not here with the underwear, but here pregnant. I had to buy sperm. I had to time ovulation exactly right. I had to drive to the sperm bank, pick up my sperm, which came in a 3-foot-high box with the words "this way up." I had to drive my sperm in me. There's my sperm. I had to drive us together to the fertility clinic, thaw that out just in time for my egg to get out of my ovary. Yeah, I wanted this. I didn't just decide not to use a condom. She said, you should be grateful. Okay, believe me, I tried. I had that goofy journal. You know, I want to tell you that then as now, there was so much social pressure to count your blessings. So I pulled out my journal and I wrote 3 things I was grateful for, except I can only think of 2. 1, I'm pregnant. 2, I have a friend who will buy me granny panties. But thinking about everything I was grateful for had nothing on depression. And actually what it did is it compounded my misery with guilt. So now I just felt like a guilty, an ungrateful piece of shit. I knew what I had to do. I had to focus on the negative. I thought about my friend, and I was like, fuck the gratitude journal. Fuck that. I need to study myself again and become an expert in depression, in misery. So I pulled out a piece of paper and I wrote down 3 things I am not grateful for. 1, I don't have a partner to buy me underwear. 2, I don't have a partner to experience the biggest moment in my life. 3, I'm lonely. I kept writing down the things that I wasn't grateful for, 300 pages worth, and I wrote a whole book about it. Again, I became an expert, this time, in depression and misery. And you know what that did? Acknowledging the things that I thought were terrible made them bearable. Listen, I'm not a total Scrooge. Most years at Thanksgiving, I can't wait for my turn when we're going around the table to say what I'm thankful for. But when I'm down, gratitude is bunk. I prefer to follow my own the Buddhist philosophy. I have my own philosophy slide. You'll see it in a second. The Buddhist philosophy, which was said really well by Robert Frost in a poem. No way out but through. I still get depressed sometimes, and when I do, I'm grateful I have a way to cope. Thank you.